What's up, guys? So I got my first piece of footage from the B-roll brigade, and this footage came in from Taylor Ward. So it's a TV that he shot, kind of old looking TV, and he put some props on top. These 90s looking hats and a Bible. So I wanted to take this piece and give you some indication of the kinds of things that I'm trying to do. Basically what I'm going to do is use this section of the footage right here. I like this little move in, little parallax on the hats and the Bible on top. And then I'm going to take this piece of footage, Jimmy Swaggart confessing his sin, project that onto this TV. So first of all, what I want to do is I need to 3D track it so I can put the footage on the screen. Then I'm going to stabilize it because, as you can see, if I play it back here, he's got it on a gimbal, but it's still a little shaky, which is fine, totally fine. So let's get to work, and I'll show you what I'm planning to do with footage like this. The built-in stuff for After Effects is getting insanely easy to use. This used to be a much longer process, but I'm literally just going to click this track camera button. It's already solving the camera. All right, so you see all these points that are attached to the footage. Did a really good job. So now all I have to do is grab a bunch of these points. Yeah. So that section there looks like it makes sense as far as a plane in this little world. So what I can do after I have these selected, I can right click and say create solid and camera. Yep. All right, so now I have the solid within the scene. Can move this over. I'll scale it down just so you can kind of see what's happening here. And now if I play back the footage, that guy is attached to the scene, and I have a camera. So go back here and grab my piece of footage, Jimmy Swaggart. I can hold down Alt, drag that onto this piece of footage, and it drops it right in place. Now I just need to rescale it. All right, so play this back. We got moving footage on a TV screen. What? So there you go. So first of all, I know that this entire section is 4 seconds and 12 frames, maybe 13 frames, but I want it to be longer. So I'm gonna do something that's probably not the best process here. Right now it's 4 seconds. I'll make it 15 seconds, so much longer. And I'm going to change the timing. Okay, so I'm gonna grab this underlying piece of footage. I'm going to go to time stretch, and I'll just make it 200%. So I'm gonna stretch that entire thing to 200%. So now 4.5 seconds becomes 9 seconds, right? So that movement. And then in the camera, I'm gonna go ahead and just take all this information. And again, this is sort of the wonky part that you probably shouldn't do, but I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna stretch all this out while holding down the Alt key, stretch it all the way out until it's as long as that comp. So now I have this camera movement, and I'm just gonna go ahead and extend this because once it hits the end here, I'll extend that out too. So this should still pretty well follow along. And once it hits the end, I want it to slow to a stop here. I want to pre-compose, and I want to move all attributes. So now I have a duplicated version of everything that happened to this, including the retime and all that. And then on this new layer, I'm gonna make this a freeze frame. So once this motion is all done, it kind of slows down to a stop, and then it goes into that frame that it stopped on it just keeps going on and on and on. And then the camera, once it hits this last frame of the camera, that's going to continue on too. So the camera stays still, the underlying plate stays still, and then the footage that's mapped on top stays still as well. What we need to do now is go ahead and make a mask. Go ahead and turn all this stuff off. I'm going to grab my pen tool. I'm going to zoom in here. So it matches this frame, so I'm just going to go back to the beginning, and I'll move this mask because this is not exactly precise anyways. I'm going to move these up here. It's a good start. See how that goes. Maybe we'll adjust it one more time in between. There, looks good. So we play this back. Oops. It's pretty good. Yeah. And then I think if I duplicate this and set this, instead of overlay, set this one to screen, and then turn the opacity of this one down to, let's say, 50. So far, that looks pretty good. And oh, I already have this pulled up. Bad TV effects. So this is old bad TV. If you just type in the word TV into the effects and presets, there's one called Bad TV 2, but it's like way overdone. So it's all warpy and the color's crazy. So I like to turn off color balance, and I like to turn off the warp, and then it just leaves you with this staticky scan line effect, which is a pretty good start. I don't know if this is what I would use for the final product, but if I go back to the comp, you got some good scan lines. It's tracked in there. We're doing good. We'll take it to the next level and make it look like it's on like a perfect dolly with another plugin that's just built right into After Effects that's really powerful. So I'm going to take comp 14, drop it into a new comp. Okay, we got this exact same footage. And then I'm actually going to use a plugin called Warp Stabilize. This is pretty incredible. As long as your scene doesn't have anything moving too much in it, it does an amazing job of like perfectly stabilizing. But I know for a fact that in this footage, what's happening on the screen is going to mess with my Warp Stabilize. So I'm going to go back into 14, turn off the footage that's moving, go back to 15, and I'm going to apply the Warp Stabilize effect. Takes a little bit. Alright, so that's done, and now if we play it back, we see much smoother, and see it's even slowed down 50%. Look at that. Look how smooth that is. But it can be even smoother. It has a smoothness setting here. I'm going to turn it all the way up to, I'm going to turn it all the way up to 100. So it's like a perfectly locked off camera with a perfectly, with a perfect slide. So we're going to come down those hats, that Bible, you're going to see all the parallax movement in that. And everything's like incredibly smooth. Look at that. It's beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit here so I can see the borders coming in. See, this thing also automatically crops. Okay, so it scales it up a little bit to crop it in. That's actually really, yeah, that's really good. Man, that's beautiful. If I wanted to, no, that's great. It even like comes to a perfect slide here at the end. So I'm gonna leave this. So this will be the shot. Then I'll go back into 14. I'll turn on the Swaggart footage. I need to at least turn off an audio on one of them, or else it'll double up the audio. Go back to 15. Swaggart footage is back on the TV. And
I want to address myself as best as I know how to those that I have wronged, that I have sinned against.
So we got this nice camera move down the hats, across the Bible, and down to this TV. So what I'm looking for is more TVs like this from the B-Roll Brigade. If you guys have any old TVs that I can project some footage onto throughout the eras, if you have 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s TVs, this is more like a 90s TV, which is cool. So all this footage would be great, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, I can work with whatever you got. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to Taylor Ward for this footage. Here's to a great movie.